Over the past 2 weeks, I have rented and watched 2 movies, Bloodfather and Imperium, which had limited releases in theaters, and are now available to rent on demand. Since there weren't any movies that looked great in the theaters, I checked these out instead. I enjoy watching new independent films this way, since they weren't playing in my area. Should more independent movies release on demand while they are still in theaters? Would theaters even allow them to do this and still be played in theaters? Theaters are not going to want a film to play on their screens if they don't think people are going to come out and see it. If an independent film releases the same time online as it does to theaters, and the theaters turn them down, then they run the risk of not getting the exposure of their film being in the movie theaters. I'm not sure how much of a bad thing this really is though. Smaller independent movies don't make a whole lot of money in the theaters, and it might actually be more advantageous to release the film digitally and promote it through those streaming services. This also has a downside. There are so many movies that come out every week, the new independent films, which don't have that much buzz, might get lost in the shuffle. I can spend an exorbitant amount of time on Netflix and Amazon Prime going through the constant movies they have available. And I may never land on an independent film because they don't pop up for my suggestion queue. This could also be an issue with the online stores where you can actually rent the films digitally. I recently heard a great idea on Collider Movie Talk that may make releasing films at the same time doable. If a film is having a limited release in LA and New York, let it also be released digitally to rent. Film nuts like me are going to search out and watch these new independent films that have a big buzz around them. If I lived in a bigger city, I would go see them in the theater. Since I don't, and some of these smaller releases never make it to my city, it would be nice if these films were released at the same times as they were released in New York and LA, so I could watch them. Doing this would make the film more money and actually help spread word of mouth. I have talked to almost everyone I know about Bloodfather and recommending it because of Gibson's performance. I also think it would be easy for theaters to establish a blackout area. If a movie is playing in a theater within a certain distance from where a person lives, then it would be blacked out from renting digitally. If major sports leagues can do this, then so can movie theaters and online stores. Fandango would be the perfect company to pioneer this type of project. They acquired a movie streaming service where you can rent and buy movies, and they already are a leader in online ticketing. It could work both ways for them. If a movie is not playing in your area, here, go rent it from our streaming store. If it is playing, instead of renting, these are the showtimes in your area. I think the way we currently consume movies and all forms of entertainment is changing. Netflix and Amazon Prime are starting to acquire the rights for movies and produce them on their own. Manchester by the Sea is a great example of this. It's a big independent movie that made its rounds earlier this year, and Amazon bought the rights to it. Beast of No Nation was a fantastic movie that was produced by Netflix that came out last year. Many theaters wouldn't show it because it was released at the same time online. If Netflix would have tried the blackout idea, maybe more theaters would be receptive to playing it and more people would have gone out to the theater to see it. I think it is great that independent films are getting these opportunities from streaming services. And I hope it continues to give more freedom to the artists to create the stories they want to tell. People say Hollywood is only making remakes or sequels, but there is a vibrant independent film community that is producing original content all the time. I think allowing streaming services to release the films at the same time they are in theaters could actually grow the popularity of these films. There were a few times this summer where I wanted to see a film, but it wasn't playing in my area. I would have gladly given them my money if it was only available for me to watch. The landscape of streaming and the way we consume movies is constantly changing, and I actually hope it leads to more good films being made. Let me know your thoughts. Would you be more likely to rent a movie from a streaming service while it's in limited release? Or would you wait for it to come to your area? Like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching.